How's everybody doing today?
Great.
All right. Yeah, as you said, my name is Jared Toy. I'm the owner, founder, proprietor, mad scientist, popsicle guy associated with Jared's Pro Pops. This is actually the second time that I've been to 1 million cups. The first time was about a year ago. I had just launched a Kickstarter campaign. We were funded in about 3 weeks, and over the course of the past year, I've really tried to be focusing on ways to go about growing my business. Now, what is Jared's Pro Pops? The thing is that I found that I don't really know any of you. I know a couple maybe, but we may not hang out in social circles. I don't know what you do, what your lifestyle is. I don't know, how active you are, if you exercise, yoga. But I do know one thing about everybody that we all have in common, and that's basically that we eat foods that hopefully supports our lifestyle. Now, what does that mean? Is that you could be yoga or bodybuilding. You do all sorts of things, but you eat specific type of foods. And if those foods don't give you the nourishment so that you can go out and think properly sitting behind a desk or doing accounting or exercising, personal trainer, then basically you don't have a healthy lifestyle. And so as a health product, I could go out and I could talk about all the great things because I wasn't healthy at one specific time. So I went out and people said be paleo or vegan or vegetarian. And it was very confusing for me. So what I did is I created a product, or a whole line of products that really go to support the lifestyle associated with being healthy on the inside. And these are, I have several things. Mainly probiotic sodas. Actually, I'm not very good at this. Probiotic popsicles and, there we go. I don't even know where I'm going, but you can get the idea. You know what a soda looks like, you know what a popsicle looks like. But what I've done is I basically, my goal is really to revolutionize the food industry. And that sounds really, really, really grand and exciting. But I found that most people, again, don't have any idea as to the importance of, regardless of whatever you do, it's the gut, it's your digestion, it's how you digest and get those nutrients from the foods that's most important. So, over the course of the year, actually it's kind of been planning for a while, but I want to be known not necessarily as the guy that sells these crazy sodas, but somebody that's associated with probiotics and digestive health, because eventually what I want to do is, again, be known as that, so that as I roll out new products, I don't want to be just that guy or that popsicle guy. The idea is that all my products are going towards supporting your good digestive health. Now, having a health product, there are a couple of options, and actually I'm in the stage right now of growth. I've had a significant amount of growth in the past year, and I really can't even keep up with demand. Think about it as I do everything myself. Everybody says, well, you can't do that, but my idea is that I want to be cost efficient. I want to try to grow my business so that I can do it, and then just expand it out to somebody else. I don't want to hire a bunch of people, so I pay for everything myself. And I've had some growth. Now, where I am right now is that my belief is that I want a core group of people that love my product. And I want to create an experience. Alex has had my pops before, but they are delicious. I didn't even bring any samples because I'm 100% confident that they're a great product. So the thing is that once that's the case, and once that I know that I'm confident that I have a good product, I really want to go out and create, as I said, an experience with that. I want somebody to walk away and remember, oh my gosh, this is the best popsicle. It reminds me of the time that when I was 12, when a popsicle guy drove down the street. It just reminds me of that because they are that good. So having that experience, I have a money-back guarantee. I guarantee every single one of my pops. If you don't like pop, you don't pay for it. So they're having an experience, and what I'm trying to do is to build that brand, and that Jared's Pro Pops. And so I can do one of two things. Most people say, well, you want to get into a retail store. Great. Okay, I can do that. But the thing is that I have to take a whole lot of risk for a whole lot of not necessarily a whole lot of reward in the end result, because again, it's all about marketing. It's about somebody buying a product of yours. So I did some calculation. I figured that everybody that comes into a health food store, there's probably out of 10 people that come into a health food store, there's probably 5 or so that maybe will travel down an aisle where one of my products are, whether it's a soda or a popsicle or the granola. And then out of that 5, I'm going to say 3 probably are familiar with what a fermented product is or what a probiotic product is. So now we're down to about 30%. And then out of those 3, I imagine that there's probably 1 that actually is willing to take a chance and buy a product that they don't know anything about. Maybe they have some clever marketing, which actually it does. And if you've seen any of mine, as I said, I do everything myself. And again, I like it that way. So we're looking at probably 1 person out of 10 that's going to come into a retail establishment and buy a pop that maybe is $3 or $4. I can't live on that. Now, I'm not saying that eventually it's not going to happen. So what I've done over the course of the year is really try to build my brand through a following. And so my next step is that, you know, I'm in negotiations right now, and hopefully I will be in one store, actually 5 stores, by the end of the year for my sodas. But I really want to focus on my online membership and delivery service. Now, the reason that I want to focus on that, you know, think Dollar Shave Club or Nuts.com or Nature Box. You know, those are all customized boxes that you can get of whatever type of product that you want that is delivered to your door. Now, what I have and what I'm gearing towards is that I open it up, and I've actually, this has kind of been in the works for a year, but I've opened up the idea of basically adding about 10 people every single month that is willing to become a 3-month subscriber of Jared's Pro Pops. Now what that means is they can have popsicles, they can have sodas, they can have granola, they can have the kombucha that I've got. They've got a whole host of things, and as I mentioned, it's not just specifically food products. As I said, I want to change the way that people think about food, because if you actually take a food and make it easy for everybody to digest, that's a healthy product. And so that's what I want to do. So there's a whole host of things that I'll be rolling out, but again, this online membership and the delivery service is geared towards that. It's just constantly rolling out new products, new offerings, new alternatives that a core group of people will be willing to buy for 50 to 100 bucks a month. Now I opened this up actually about 2 months ago, and I selected about 50 people that you know, that I do keep in contact with, and out of that 50, I had 26 people that signed up. So my goal is that if I can, as I said, if I can add about 10 people a month that just consistently want my product, that over the course of a year, that's basically about $6,000 in recurring revenue. Now, again, if you continue to do that, you know, eventually, yes, I will be in stores, as I said, but the idea is that I want to create experience, and the whole thing is that everybody creates, or an entrepreneur has a product that they want to get in more hands of more people, and the easiest way, I think, for me, in order to do that, is through my online delivery service. So that's kind of a new thing. You know, I've had a lot of feedback and say that it may or may not work, and frankly, I don't care, because the thing is I know my product is going to be big. I know it. I can see it. I can envision everything. The idea is that it doesn't matter. I don't have to really focus. I'm not a very good salesperson, so if I had a crappy product, I would have to work really, really hard as a salesperson to sell. But if I know my product is good, and I know it tastes great, and it gives you better health, and you feel better after eating it, then to me that's a win-win situation for everybody else. So as I said, going forward, and the reason that I just wanted to get out, as I said, and I think my 6 minutes is about up. I've been practicing enough, but I thought that you know, I'd open it up if you guys had any questions. But I'm a small guy in a big pond. But has anybody ever had a Pro Pop line before? 2. I haven't done a very good job then. But in any case, as I said, that's all that I had. A couple of things is that if you guys want to know more about you know, my online delivery or anything about Jared's Pro Pops, I do have, you know, a link that you could follow, of course, and I'll pass those out. But I thought that I'd just open it up, and if you guys have any questions about, you know, what Jared's Pro Pops is or not, I would be more than happy to take any of those. Yes, Nick. Gary.
Got it? Okay. During the past year that you've been operating, have you had the opportunity to do any independent third-party surveys to see what strangers really think about the product without listening to your sales presentation, just tasting it and talking to an objective third party?
What do you mean by third? Like, I mean, I have lots. I've used SurveyMonkey. I don't know what specifically are you talking about.
Like having it formatted as a professional market researcher would do.
Oh, no. I mean, most of my research and things, as I said, that I do, it's just me showing up at farmers markets. That's basically how I sell, is that I just go out and I set up shop and I have my products and I have people try it and I have them fill out forms, tell me what they like. You know, they can verbally tell me, but in terms of, you know, I'm sure that probably costs a whole lot of money, which I don't have. But, you know, that's how I focus on my market research, basically just by talking to people.
Where do you expect to be a year from now, sales volume-wise?
Well, as I mentioned, I think at least at the very minimum, you know, I could have about $6,000 in recurring revenue, at least. You know, as I mentioned, this isn't a big-time operation. I started small. I started in a restaurant kitchen, renting out a space. It was about 8 square feet. And I've got my own commercial kitchen in Oklahoma City, which I know that their kitchen 66 is actually just starting this. But I travel to Oklahoma City 4 days a week. And I have my own kitchen there. So I built that, and now I just ferment and brew and package and bottle and do everything myself. So That's what I do. Anything else?
So I have had the delicious good fortune of trying your pops, and they're phenomenal. All of it, like the popsicles, the soda pop. I haven't tried your granola. Next on my list. Curious then. So you're a year. You were just coming out of your Kickstarter. I just saw you at the farmers market,
Right.
and every farmers market I've seen you now, you're running out of popsicles. You're selling out for it. So have you gotten an idea of where you're wanting to be now? Because I think that you were asked this the first time. Like, is this a lifestyle business where you wanted to grow very large, start hiring employees? Like, what your actual end goal for this is?
Alex, that was a good question. Yeah, the end goal is certainly, if I think about it this way, is that, I don't know if you guys know a whole lot about what bacteria and probiotics are. Basically, you have bacteria all over your body. And so the products and everything that I'm making, it's going to support that. The health and beauty products that I have, which probiotic toothpaste or probiotic lotions and shampoos. Again, because if you think about it, all body odor is and all gingivitis and cavities, all it is just bad bacteria. So my goal, as I said, is I want to change that. So over the course of the year, as I mentioned, at least I'm going to, what goals I have, at least 100 cases a month of the sodas. That's the goal. That I think it's entirely feasible. And then the popsicles, as I said, I was selling about 3,000 popsicles last year, so I would certainly like to double that as well. But again, the idea is to build Jared's Probiotics and Jared's as a brand, not necessarily just as the sodas itself. So, yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
So there's been successful home delivery companies like Bespoke, Trunk Club. They've all done well. It's clothing. I'm wondering if I get home at 5:30 at night and it's been a hot summer day, are my popsicles or my probiotic sodas, are they going to be okay having sat on my doorstep for the entire day?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, part of what I've been doing over the past year is actually for the packaging. So, again, the reason that you don't see a whole lot of people like me, or at least businesses like me, is part of distribution. That's the hardest part of getting a live product from point A to point B. GT's, anybody familiar with kombucha? Or GT's kombucha? Okay. Well, that's a nationwide brand, but really you're going to have to focus on regionally. I'm getting your question, by the way. But, so what happens is that in order for me to get from point A to point B, I have to focus a lot on packaging. And so, yes, to answer your question, it's all in a sealed container that with dry ice, especially on the popsicles, the sodas, it has its own cold. It's all separately packaged. So when you get that, it's just like a regular package again, and it's delivered within 2 days. So I've worked on the packaging so that it can get anywhere really in the U.S. in 2 days. Cool and cold and frozen. Yes.
Just following up on the question about market research.
Sure.
Since you're trying to keep dollars low and spend low, maybe not using a third party, are you using social media to maybe pre-qualify some potential customers and or find new events to attend where you'd be more likely to sell more of your product?
Great question. Actually, I live on social media. Social media to me is gold. And social media to me, if you follow, even if you go to Jared's Pro Pops, I would encourage everybody just to Google Jared's Pro Pops. You're going to find a lot of stuff out there. There's about 6,000 people that follow me on Facebook, and most of that, as I said, is that I give a lot of information that talks about good digestive health and probiotics, and that's how people know me. So, social media-wise, again, that's how I built it. I think in a previous lifestyle, maybe that I was, maybe a social media market manager, but I love it, and I think I'm okay at it, and so that's how I built my business. I was 100% been through social media. So yeah, I pre-qualify a lot of things. The hardest part about being somebody that's an entrepreneur and trying to do something all your own is to find a way that they're all linked together. And so, downloading information. I have ebooks. It's funny, as I was telling you yesterday, I have a 120-page ebook. Is anybody going to read it? Maybe not, but the idea is that it was just thoughts and continuous thoughts, and it's a good book. Actually talk about probiotics and fermented foods and digestive health and how they're all correlated to actually living to 100, and that's what I say. That's what the title of it is, How to Live to the Age of 100. But again, social media to me is phenomenal. If you can do it on your own or pay somebody else and get your business through social media, I think that is the goal.
Hey Jared.
Yes.
When you said something actually as a segue to my question. so maybe you had this ESP thing, but you said being an entrepreneur, you have to find a way that everything is linked together, and that really causes me to question your product lines. Why is it that you have popsicles, sodas, and then granola, which seems even farther removed from liquid-based products? And as one person doing that, where have you found limitations being trying to develop those 3 product lines?
There is no limitation, actually. That's a great question. Actually, there's no limitation. Part of it is that I don't sleep a whole heck of a lot. But outside of that, again, I just don't want to be known as one specific guy. You know, the idea is that when you take, I mean, if I was to say granola, most people have no idea that that would be even associated with probiotic. Now again, the idea is that all I'm doing is just taking that food product and making it easy to digest. So, you know, liquid foods, whole foods, health and beauty products, if you make it easy for your body or your skin to absorb the nutrients, the probiotics, in the foods that I make, that to me is a gold mine. So, you know, as I said, I don't want to be known as only that popsicle guy. I want to be known, as I said, as a way to revolutionize really the way that foods are presented. All of my products are food-based. I don't take anything with a supplement, sprinkle it on there. Everything I ferment myself. So the granola, it's all fermented. The fruits, all fermented. The sodas, popsicles, all fermented. Now what that means is that basically the probiotics eat the sugars and the starches, and just as I said, it makes it easy for your body to digest, which we all have issues with sugars or starches or things, as I said, to nourish our bodies. So, you know, you question my product line again, then you probably even more questioned about my toothpaste or as I said, or the face cream. I mean, nobody's doing that. But I focus on the process of actually using those foods to the benefit of everyone.
So actually my question wasn't how do all these things use probiotics? My question is, why do more than one thing? Why aren't you just killing the popsicle market instead of trying to do popsicles, soda pops, granola, toothpaste, all these other things that are actually separate businesses altogether? Why? I should be curious, why are you doing this?
That's a great question. Actually, and again, I could do that. I could start a business only on the sodas or only on the popsicles, but that's not the way that my mind works. I mean, I know myself quite well, and there's absolutely no way that I could just sit and do one thing and do that for the rest of my life. You know, I don't want to be sitting and making kitchen, stuff in my kitchen for the rest of my life. These are ideas that I've had that, that I focus a lot, and it's just a way to know that eventually on that online marketing and the online business and the online delivery service, if I can establish my brand as somebody that knows, first of all, about probiotics, about digestion, about better health, about, somebody that has a story about getting from point A to point B, about being healthy, people are more apt to believe and support me, as opposed to somebody that, hey, I just made a great product, buy my product. Again, it's a story behind it, so everything, all of the products are things that I've used for the past, I haven't used regular toothpaste or regular deodorant or regular shampoo in almost 2.5 years. I think I look pretty healthy. I know I'm healthy. My test results prove it. So I want to tell that story again, that you can find better health through a whole host of products. So I just know that if I was to only focus on the sodas, I would go crazy. I just couldn't do it, and I don't think that my business would be as successful. I'd be more than happy to have somebody or bring somebody on and say, all right, you focus on the sodas, you focus on the probiotics, you focus on the popsicles, you focus on the granola, but I think more about the bigger picture as opposed to the smaller picture. And so it's easier for me, as I said, my own mental makeup, if I could actually, route that up to somebody else as opposed to me doing one specific thing. That answer your question, hopefully? Okay, all right. Yeah?
So it's obvious that you're passionate about your products. I love seeing
Can you
that.
tell?
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so. And kind of to segue from his question and some of the stuff you said, what does your scalability look like? Have you determined, okay, once I hit 5,000 bottles of soda, there's no way I can do this on my own anymore? At what point does it stop becoming a one-man band?
It's a great question. Actually, I can produce by myself about 30 cases of sodas in a week. So I know that if I was to only focus on the online delivery service of my sodas, I could support everything that I needed to maintain, as I said, anywhere from that $6,000 or so to $7,000 in recurring revenue. I think that the problem that I'm going to have is that when I start doubling everything that I'm doing. So I've basically doubled the sodas from where I was a year ago. The popsicles have doubled, at least, almost tripled, and now we're starting on the granola. So it probably will happen soon. It hasn't hit it yet. So I don't know whether that means, again, I can get up every single day and do exactly the same thing, and I've got a whole plan and everything that I do every single day. So I haven't reached that spot yet. So I don't know. You know, the thing is that I'm willing to offset a lot of things to other people. You know, I'm not egotistical to think that I can do everything myself. It's just from economic standpoint, I have to. So, you know, that's the way that I look at it. I mean, I pay my bills out of the business. I do this full time. So I have to, you know, pay for my kids' education. I have to pay for my, you know, everything out of the revenue that I make. So again, I have to be fairly cost effective and efficient on what I spend my money on.
All right, we have time for one last question.
Sure.
Do you have one more?
Well, I was just going to follow up, but I don't want to steal the thunder from someone else. So if you figured out what it takes you to develop, you know, a 1 week for 30 cases, you said, I mean, can't you build out a model that kind of tells you where that is so you're more prepared for it rather than, oh crap, now I can't meet demand and I'm falling behind on things and letting quality control slip?
It's a great question. And actually, the way that I approach it is this, is I don't put out enough more product than I can make myself. So, you know, in terms of being retail, they want a lot of product, but I've told people point blank, and specifically this one retailer that really wants my product, I'm not going to do it. And I can't, because I have to focus on the quality control. I mean, that's to me is the experience. So, you know, I would much rather make $6,000 a month in recurring revenue selling to a core group of people than going nationwide and having a crappy product that doesn't meet quality. So if I can't meet my own personal quality, I'm not going to branch it off into somebody else.
Thank you. We've got one last question here.
Sure.
Okay, so I think there's a lot of people in this room asking, like, that's a crazy thought to focus on $6,000 a month instead of scaling,
Yeah.
meaning that we're entrepreneurs. So it's very clear that you're a Steve Jobs, a visionary for it. But Steve Jobs at Wozniak, that was really the operations side person, systemizing processes in a way to scale for it. So have you thought about that? Have you thought about having somebody like that, your yin to your yang?
That's what I'm trying to do right now. And again, the hardest part about it is finding that person. I've gone through, you know, 3 people, and I don't think it's very hard to get to get along with, but that's the hardest thing. So yes, to answer your question, if I could find somebody, that would be my goal. And actually that is going to be my goal for the upcoming year, is to find that yin to my yang. So, you know, that's the hard part. So, my goal is just to make a good product, and I want everybody to walk away thinking, oh my God, Jared, this is a great product. If I can do that, then eventually I'll get a core group of people, as I said, that will help and support my business.
All right, thank you, Jared. Appreciate it.